All right. Hey, everybody. It's been about a week since I spoke to you all last, and I've been thinking about you a lot because the last video that I did was kind of left everybody kind of hanging a little bit because I wanted to talk about the elephant in the room, which is that we are experiencing trauma nowadays, and it's I don't think there have been many times in the whole history of the planet where as many people are going through the same trauma as there is right now. There's certainly some wartime experiences like World War One, where multiple people were going through the same trauma at the same time. But this is unique, and um, and the power of it, partly because we're aware of what everybody else is going through in terms of the trauma, pretty intense. So I wanted to talk this week about some things that we can do to cope. And I wanted to also talk to you a little bit about resiliency and what resilience is. And then, and so, because it kind of gives you a goal of what you're working for in terms of coping. Before that, before I get started, there's a quick clinic update. We still aren't open. We still don't have any masks. We are, however, gearing up quite a bit of telehealth conferencing. And I've been working hard to get a bunch of resources up on our website for you. So one of the things that I'm personally working with, and haven't had a chance to talk with Joanna, Ben, and Emily about this yet, but one of the things that I did when I was before I had my hip replaced, one of the things that I did to treat myself was to use lasers. And so I am now coaching my patients on, here's the points that I want you to work on and get yourself a laser pen, which is, they're on the internet. You can probably get one shipped to your house, or you can go to, if you're going out to buy pet food, you want a red laser that's pretty much like what you buy to drive your cats and dogs crazy, and I can tell you how to use that. It's a low-level cold laser, and you need to be careful about how long you focus it on one point, but it works really good. I used it quite a bit with the pain in my hip, and it was possible for me to go for long periods of time, 3 or 4 hours or more a day before I'd give myself another top up with it. So, so we're offering things like that. We're also offering herbal consults through the telehealth. And, the other thing is we're here to listen to you. If you're currently a patient, we will be checking in with you regularly to see how you're doing. And and if you're not a patient, you can still become a patient. We just kind of do it virtually. And you'd be surprised how much we can get done virtually without having to be in the room with you and stick needles in you. There are many ways that we have in our scope of practice of helping people get through these times. So at the end of the video, I'll put up a, a sign that says how you can contact us if you want to, and then we'll be talking with you. So when I started trying to figure out what I wanted to say about recovery, or not it's not even recovery. Recovery from trauma is going to take a little while because this is going to go on for a little while. This is not like you were in a car accident, which is a traumatic event, but it's done. This is not done. And that's part of the thing that's freaking everybody out, is like everything has become so uncertain, right up to and including, and maybe the worst part is, like, we don't know when it's going to be over. It will be. I really believe that. We just don't know when it's going to be. So I wanted to start out by talking a little bit about resiliency. There's been a ton of research done about trauma and people's response to trauma. And one of the things they've been looking at, all these researchers, is what is it that helps somebody recover from trauma? Particularly, my interest has been particularly looking at veterans and combat-related trauma. And the military is actually researching this because they're trying to figure out why is it that some folks who are exposed to combat and see or do or witness really horrific stuff manage to heal from that. And so they're looking at this thing that they're calling resilience. And actually, I found out last year there's like college degrees on resilience now. So this is a real thing that's got some real research behind it. And after this, you might want to spend some of your time looking that up, see what's online that's available to you. I'm kind of relying on two different things. One is just the sort of basic, what is the definition of resilience? And that is that it's the ability to recover, which seems kind of obvious, but it's the ability to recover readily, um, and it's also being able to spring back from a hit. So you may find that over the course of time that you kind of bounce back and forth from feeling like, okay, I got this, I know this is crazy, but I can handle it. And then something will happen and you get another shock, and you feel like like your legs have been swept out from underneath you. How you come back from that is kind of the definition of resiliency. Can we spring back? Can we and can we just spring back to ourselves so that we can carry on with what we need to do in our lives right now? So if you think so, I want you to hold that idea of resilience in your mind while we talk about how can you manage that, because if I just said, well, be resilient, that means spring back. Okay, and how do I do that? Well, there's a lot of stuff that we can be doing about this, and it's so practical and it's so easy to do if you think one step at a time. This is one of the cool things that I've learned over time, but particularly from my veterans. Everybody just says stay calm, one step at a time is a big AA thing. For some reason, it came much clearer to me when I was visualizing how the military trains its people to accomplish a mission. So you'll find that these sort of things salt a lot of my conversations with you. But so the big goal is to accomplish the mission. That's the thing. First the mission, then the unit. But the big goal is to accomplish the mission. And for somebody who's on the ground, who doesn't have an idea of what the big picture is, to accomplish the mission means to just keep going. One foot in front of the other, just keep going. So to achieve your resiliency goal, and you could consider that to be your mission, is to stay resilient through these times. The first thing that you can think about is just keep going, one step at a time. There are things that still need to happen in your life. If you live alone, there's things that you still may be responsible for. If you have families, there's definitely things that you're looking at kids and parents, and so there's things that still have to get done. And some of you are still working, bless you, because you're considered to be essential to the running of our economy and to bringing services to us. And a big shout out, I mean, obviously, big shouts out to the people who are in the medical field, who are taking care of us when we get really, really sick. But there are a lot of heroes out there, folks. The person who's there at the gas station to make sure that you have gas for your car, person who's working behind the checkout at your grocery store, your banker, your road crew, people that are trying to keep things rolling along as normal as they possibly can, who are out there working for us. And we'll get to one of the things that you can do to help with your coping in relation to these folks. But so life goes on, and this is some suggestions I'm going to have for you about how you can keep maintaining. There was a really wonderful article in our local paper, I think yesterday, on coping during this crisis. Some interviews with a couple of clinical social workers in our county Uh, and I'm going to put that article up on our website so you can read it if you can't get access to the paper. But one of them, by the way, is Jackie Humphreys, who I knew many, many, many years ago. So if Jackie ever sees this, hey, Jackie, you wrote some good stuff here for this. I'm borrowing from you liberally. Um, one of the biggest issues I think that is going to come and go for us is exhaustion. This is like I keep trying to come up with a metaphor for what it's like for what's going on right now, and I can't come up with a pinball machine. I've tried that one, kind of sort of uh, being in the middle of a windstorm that changes directions all the time. It's like you think you got a grip on what's going on, and then something else comes up, and you have to adapt and adjust and change. That's exhausting. There is absolutely nothing, I think, the way things are at the moment, there's nothing that we just do by rote anymore, which is important because if we can reestablish some of those routines, we're going to be in better shape. But so the first thing about looking at this is like how tiring this is to do this, which means how important it is to take a break from it as much as you can. And we'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. Actually, the minute's right now. So one of the things that I want you to think about and to remember is you got to remember the basic stuff that you need to do. But really, really think about this. What is the really basic things you have to do? You have to sleep. You have to set up routines, like you have to eat properly. You may not feel like getting out of your pajamas, and yeah, you can take a mental health day and never get out of them, but don't do that too long. Begin to make up a routine that incorporates these things. And my mind works. The only way I'm going to really do that well is if I write it down. Up at 5, first thing I'm going to do is make a coffee. Going to have breakfast by 6:30. Going to have lunch 12 o'clock ish, 1 o'clock ish. Going to have dinner 5 o'clock ish. Start out with that basic routine because you can fill in there so around it. So for me, because I'm kind of a morning person, the time between breakfast, I would write this down: coffee, breakfast, shower, get dressed. 9 to 12 I'm gonna call patients. 12 to 1 I'm gonna have lunch. 1 to 3 maybe 1 to 3 I'll be doing more work on the website and things like that. And then 3 to 5, and this is new, I'm gonna have to make sure that I do this. You can actually get in touch with me and check on me. You can hold me accountable for this. I want to take a walk every day. Somewhere between 3 and 5, I want to go take a walk. Some people have chosen to take a walk in the morning and in the afternoon. And if you're working from home or if you're retired, you have the time to do that. So the work in the mornings to get the blood going, and it's a physical thing to do. Movement is great. Walk in the afternoon is to decompress. Also very important. So think about your life. Think about how you can set up a routine. And if you're living with kids, believe me, I understand that that's tricky, but kids really are going to benefit from a structure as well. And so finding a way to structure days for your children, I've not, believe I understand you. I have no good ideas about that. But if you can provide a structure for your kids, they're going to feel more secure, and they're going to be less likely to be wigging out on you in whatever way it is that they do that. Some kids, if they're feeling insecure, are going to get really whiny. Some of them are going to start testing your limits. Try to find a way to set up a routine for them. And if you have access to their teachers, they're a great resource for you. I don't know whether there are people in the mental health world who are working in our county who are working with kids who are posting up advice about this, but there certainly there's some stuff out there. And actually, now that I think about it, I did put something on our website um, that was talking about how to talk to the kids about coronavirus, but it also gives you some very specific things that you can do to provide that structure for your kids. Am I talking about blowing a whistle and saying you got to be here at this time? Not really, but I I saw a camp unit of boys in a Girl Scout camp, and the way these 10-year-old boys, the counselors managed to get them to go anywhere is they made them go by whistle and by running. Very sort of paramilitary, and the kids loved it. So be creative, creative, and step away if it's getting to be too much. And if you melt down and yell at the kids, forgive yourself for that, because they can certainly twang on our last nerves, it's for sure. Okay, so we've got this idea about uh, creating a structure with routines. One of the things that will do for you is if you really let yourself get into the routine that you've created, is that's going to ground you. That's going to anchor you in the moment, and it's going to keep you from sort of spinning off on the latest numbers, or oh my god, they changed the recommendations again. It used to be no masks, now it's masks. Try to stick to your routine. Try to stick to your routine. If you're working and you work on the computer, do not be distracted by the Facebook. Say this with this is what I do. I'm supposed to be focusing on this, and I want to go check what's the latest thing up. Try not to do that. Get a regular routine, regular eating, um, and include outdoor time. It doesn't matter if you have kids or not. I mean, obviously for the kids, it'll be great. And we need it as well, us people who are no longer children. It's like we need to get outside. We need to get at least go half an hour between 11 and 1, which is the best time of day to get exposed to the sun for just half an hour. That's your prime time for making vitamin D in the body, and that's going to help keep you healthy. So go, even if you just go out and walk around your house a few times, that's great. Take a half hour in the sunshine. Just get outside. Make sure that you have some alone time. And so alone time sounds silly if you live alone, but there's alone time with your computer, and there's alone time where you're taking a break from life, and you're trying to get that monkey mind to stop running around and swinging from the trees. Like, okay, put on some good music. Put your headphones on and listen to some good music. Do something that lets you just sit down and think about your breathing. Make sure that you're getting good, deep breathing exercises while you're doing it, and just relax. It's going to be so rejuvenating. You're not even, and if you know what, if you fall asleep, cool, take a nap. Naps are very underrated. So take some alone time. And one of the things that I saw in the article, and I think Becky was the one who said it, that it's really, I thought was a great idea, is if you can establish external markers. So if you're working from home, if you're working from home and you've decided your work time is going to be from 9 to 3 or 9 to 2 or whatever it's going to be, when you get dressed in the morning, put on your work clothes, or put on something that you think of as your work clothes. You don't have to you don't need to put on a suit and a tie and blah, 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 but put on something that are work clothes. And when you're done, change into leisure clothes. But hopefully that's when you're done working is when you're going to go take your decompression walk. So put on something that's comfortable for moving in. I think that's a wonderful idea, because then you have these clear demarcations between work time and your time. Somebody else mentioned in that article, and again, I think it was Jackie, if it's a rest time, do something that's external to you that signifies that it's a rest time. And lighting a candle was the idea. I would not have ever thought of that. How do you say? So now is my time to relax. I'm going to light a candle, put on some music. That's a ritual. Ritual in Chinese medicine is a virtue of the heart, and it is soothing and connecting us to something bigger than we are. So make a ritual. There was a guy interviewed in this article who's he says that he's been working from home for a long time, so he's already got the routine in place. But he set it up so that his routine work is like 5 hours starting at 9 o'clock. And then in the afternoon, he gets to do either go out and be in the woods with his dogs, or he's maple sugaring right now. And so being in the woods is like his happy place. So make sure that that time's incorporated for you. One of the things that I was trying to figure out how to articulate, and which was articulated really well in this article, is that having a purpose. So when I work with veterans who have post-traumatic stress, one of the strongest tools for their healing is for them to come up with a new mission. I mean, even if they don't have stress from combat, if you've been in an environment where for 4 years or more, where somebody's telling you what to do every day, somebody else tells you what the mission is, it's very similar to what we're going through right now, where we suddenly don't have a job to go to. If you don't have a mission, then if they don't have a mission, then they feel very disoriented and lost. So what I've figured out over time is all humans need a mission. I think we're hardwired to be of service. So if your mission was to go to work and do your job so that you could feed your family, and now you suddenly can't do that, I would highly, highly encourage you to come up with a new mission, a new purpose, a new reason for getting up and putting that one foot in front of the other. And let me tell you, it can be, it's not what you think it is. It's not like I have to come up with a new mission to save the world. It's I have to come up with a new mission for the day. What is my mission for the day? My mission for today was to try and make sure that I got this video out to you guys. And after that, I'm hoping that my daughter will be home and we can go take a walk. So the mission could be make masks. Now that they finally have decided to tell us that we should all be wearing masks, there aren't any of the professionally approved masks. There are certainly a gazillion different designs and YouTube videos about making masks. You can make them pretty much from stuff that you have at home. You can use a sewing machine or do it without a sewing machine. Make masks and give them away. You know, so you go take a stack of masks with you the next time you go to the grocery store, and you see anybody in the store who's an employee or not, who doesn't have a mask, offer them a mask. Make them and give them away. That's a heck of a mission, because for starters, you're going to feel really good about doing it, and you're going to help somebody else feel really good that you cared enough to offer that to them. If you're taking walks and you're in town, pick up litter. Just take a bag along. Find some way to put gloves on or something so that you can pick up litter. Or if you have trouble bending over, I bet you have one of those little grabby things that they give you when you have trouble bending over. Those will pick up litter. You also could make a sign for your neighbors that's just kind of encouraging and inspirational, and stick it in your window or put it on your front yard, or something that says to the world, hang in there, we're all in this together. Something like that. Something that when somebody walks by your house or drives by your house and sees it, it's going to make them feel like, oh, somebody has my back. So you could do that sort of thing. There's just go out and look for the good news on the internet, and you will find people who are creating choirs through Zoom, and then making their music available to each other and to the neighborhood. Find a purpose for yourself. It does not have to be a big deal. In fact, it's the little things that we do, the little missions that we go on, are the things that keep us ticking over as a community. When you do things like that, one of the things about resiliency is that we humans need meaning in our lives. And so and the meaning is also, we also need to have ways for us to continue to grow. So when you think about being able to bounce back, when I was mentioning resiliency earlier, then that's that's sort of how, will this will this action give me some meaning in my life at the moment? You're not talking about the big meaning in your life for the rest of your life, but in the moment, is this going to give some meaning to my life? And is it a way for me to grow? Um, I've always wanted to learn Spanish. Maybe I should find an online Spanish course to take. Use this time to learn and grow. And meaning for that is, well, it gives me pleasure, and it's a tool that I could use going forward. Do you see what I'm saying? And so take a look at what that means and expand it for you. You want to think about, find meaning and a way to grow during your actions of the day. And the last thing that I would say about this is, make sure that you take time to reflect. So when you're having your quiet time, so first have your quiet time where you can decompress, start doing some deep breathing, calm down from the anxiety, the sort of incessant anxiety. But we're at a really unique time in history, that there are so many things that are um, not functioning well, or are you know, might not ever go back to the way they used to be. I suspect there's quite a lot that will be like that. So, given that the world is changing because of this, what would you like to see different? We have a chance to sort of envision uh, a new way of being and a new living. This is a time when we get the chance to do what the Iroquois do and say, okay, I'm going to make a decision. Let me see how many generations ahead I can look at that. Like, if I make this choice, how is it going to affect my kids? How's it going to affect their kids and their kids? Iroquois used to talk about big decisions you needed to think about how it would affect the next 7 generations. And by the way, folks, that almost made it into our Constitution. Thomas Jefferson really liked that idea of putting that in place so decisions would be as thoughtful as they possibly can before they were decided. So, do you have to sit down and do this for an hour a day? If that fits into your new routine, yeah, do it. Could you do it on the fly? Sure. I would, for me, I would have to be writing it down, because it's sort of like things go through my monkey brain, and just some of them stick around and some of them don't. If I have a really good idea, I might want to write it down and say, wouldn't it be great if in as things go forward, we have some way to, this is a big one, I have to say. Okay, so let me try now. I was going to say some way to try and disconnect people working for a living from their health insurance. That's a huge one. What would be a better one? Wouldn't it be wonderful if, so this is, I don't know how this would work out, but what I would really like to see is, I would love it if in the future, after everything has begun to return back to our new normal, people wouldn't tailgate me, because they're not now. It's really strange. It's like cars are trying to observe 6-foot physical distancing. I don't think most of the people that I've passed on my commute in the past actually know what 6 car lengths are, or 5 car lengths. 5. It's only 5, Bill. It's only 5. I'm not speeding to town. And now they're doing it. Nobody's on my butt anymore. Let's keep that up. So so I guess the whole way to sum this up is that, to get through what we're going through now, we have to cultivate resilience. We cultivate resilience by practicing coping mechanisms. And one of those coping mechanisms, by the way, is to learn how to forgive ourselves and other people for some of the stupid things that we do because we're afraid. We need resilience. We cultivate coping mechanisms. And then we begin to envision the future. What do you want to see? What do you want to see in your next 2 years from now? What do you want to see? And with that, I'm going to do a little screen sharing here and let you see uh, how you could get in touch with us if you need to. And here you go. We would love to hear from you. We can set you up for telehealth. We do have things like our IDGAF tea that we could certainly send you um, for sale. We have this tea, by the way, if you haven't heard of it before, this is a really wonderful, calming, it's kind of like taking Valium, but still being able to function tea. And the veterans that we were seeing at the time we brought it into the clinic are the ones who named it. And so IDGAF, in case you don't know, is text speak for I don't give a fuck, but it's in a good way. It's not like I'm going to not pay attention to you because I don't give a fuck what you're saying. It's I can handle this. So you can get in touch with us for that. You can get in touch with us if you'd like to set up a telehealth meeting. Either going to the website or giving us a call. Either one of those will work. And I will be talking to you soon. Right. Be well and as one of my patients left a message for me that says, be healthy, stay calm, don't let anybody breathe on you. And I'll see you again soon.